ॐ विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यन्निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिर्वोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्रचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ वर्स् 26 कीदृक्तर्हीति चेत् पृच्छेत् ईदृक्ता नास्ति तत्र हि यदनीदृक्ता दृक् च तत्स्वरूपं विनिश्चिनु। So dealing with the features of Brahman based on Taittiriya Upanishad, second chapter, that is Brahmanandvalli, in which the four features of Brahman are discussed in Brahmanandvalli. First is a Panchakosha Vilakshanam, and the second is, in fact, Panchakosha Nihitam is first discussed, really speaking. Yoveda Nihitam Guhayam Parame Vyomanya. So that is the Brahman which is residing in this Panchakoshas. Well, definitely, which resides must be different, right? If some person resides in a cave, the person is different from the cave. So, well, this Panchakosha Guha, so one which resides in this Panchakoshas must be distinct. And therefore, well, so Panchakosha Vilakshanatvam, distinct from the Panchakoshas. And then which resides as a what? As a witness of this Panchakoshas. That's the second thing. Third thing is that Brahman, which is the Sakshi, which is distinct from the five koshas, which resides in Panchakoshas, is Atma, right? That is the self. That's the third feature. And the fourth feature is that Brahman, then the definition of that Brahman or Sakshi or Atma is Satyam Jnanam Anantam. These four features we discussed, and we discussed two features. And the third feature we are discussing right now, which is very important feature, and that is Brahman is Atma. That shows Brahman is Atma means it is Mahavakya. It shows an identity between oneself and Brahman. And well, since Brahman is myself, what is a corollary? Well, it is never available for objectification. So it is a Prameyam Brahman. And so it is a prameyam, means it is not available for objectification. Never available for pramana. It is never available for any means of knowledge is called a prameyam. Which is not available to pramana is a prameyam. Which is available to pramana for objectification, well, it is prameyam. Not available, aprameyam. So it is in other cases, other than this Brahman or Sakshi, well, if it is not available to any means of knowledge, means it is definitely non-existent. But in case of Brahman or a Sakshi, which is a subject, and therefore it is not available for objectification, and therefore you cannot say, well, the subject also is not there. Subject will never be available for objectification. So even though it is not available for objectification, it is a prameyam, still you cannot say it is non-existent. It is in the form of a subject. It is all the time there. And so this is a general, this is an exception to the general rule. What is that general rule? They call in Sanskritam as a Manadhina Meya Siddhihi. Mana Adhina Meya Siddhihi. Then you add pra. So pramana dhina prameya siddhi. So the very existence of the prameya, the object, will definitely depend upon the pramana, that is depend upon the means of knowledge. If means of knowledge reveal the object, then only we say it is existent. But the exception is Sakshi or Brahman. And so my uniqueness is that I am not objectifiable to any pramana, but nobody can question my existence, right? To prove everybody's non-existence, I am right there. And so nobody basically can question my existence. Even to question my existence, the questioner has to be there. Even to doubt that, well, whether, let me see whether I am there or not. Before that, also a doubter should exist. Anyway, so when this was mentioned, the question arose, well, if I am Sakshi not available for any objectification, then what will be my nature? I would like to see my own glory. I would like to see what kind of a Sakshi I am. So I would like to visualize, conceive my nature, etc. Well, then to visualize, I want some example. So whether I would be like this or like that, etc., etc., that is what has been told here. Kidruk tarhi iti pruchet chet. Kidruk. Kim plus druk. So actually the original word is kim plus drish. Will be kidrish. And the prathama vibhakti ekvachanam will be kidruk. Drish means like. Kim means what? So I, the Sakshi, you are describing the glory of this all Sakshi. That Sakshi is like what? Iti pruchet chet. If you ask so, and I would like to say, I mean, if you like so, then well, let's add into his question itself. What? Idrukta, whether it is idruk, whether it is like this, means whether it is like a object which is in front of me, whether it is an object which is a pratyaksha, or tadruk, whether that Sakshi is like that, which is not an object of basically perception, not an object of senses. So paroksha. So this Sakshi, the Atma, the Brahman is like what? Is it like this or is it like that? Is it pratyaksha vishaya or is it paroksha vishaya? Is it an object of a perception or it is not an object of perception? It's an object of a direct knowledge or is it an object of a indirect knowledge? Like that he is asking. And Vidyaranya says, well, if you ask such thing, well, idrukta nasti tatrahi. With respect to this Sakshi, Brahman, idrukta nasti. Idrukta nasti means the status of being like this is not there. Tadrukta nasti. We have to add. The status of being like that also is not there in this Sakshi. And that is, so it is pratyaksha, it is not a pratyaksha vishaya, it is not a paroksha vishaya. So it is pratyaksha paroksha vilakshanaha. Why? Because it is not a vishaya at all. Because when you say it is a pratyaksha vishaya, it is like this, which is in front of you, means it is an atma, definitely it is an atma. Or it is like that, which is not an object of a perception. Well, that is also an atma. Because basically pratyaksha or paroksha, it is anatma only. And therefore pratyaksha vishaya is anatma, paroksha vishaya also is anatma. Then, well, definitely how can atma ever be comparable to anatma? Very first thing is this. How can atma be ever comparable to anatma? Both are different categories. And therefore, but why? Somebody asked me, well, why cannot we compare atma with anatma? Why? Because the lakshanas are different. Whatever characteristics are there in anatma are totally absent in atma. Totally. In fact, by narrating anatma, even if you don't know about atma, you can just put opposite to that. That is atma. I will tell you. Anatma is always jadam, inert. And I am telling you without knowing, you know very well, of course. But without even somebody doesn't know, I say, well, you make a column. We used to make a column like this. And then this side anatma, this side atma. Start writing points. Anatma, well, I am telling you, anatma is jadam, inert. Then atma will be what? Atma is always chaitanya. Okay? Then second thing, anatma is savikaram, constantly changing. Atma is never changing, nirvikaram. Anatma is savikalpam. Anatma is always savikalpam, means it is dvaitam. It has a duality. In Anatma there is a duality. Atma is advaitam. Then Anatma is or mithya. Atma is satyam. Anatma is drishyam. Atma is druk. Right? Anatma is sagunam. Anatma is always endowed with attributes. Atma is never endowed with any attributes. It is nirguna, etc. etc. And therefore, how will you compare? Now please tell me. How will you compare? So Atma cannot be compared with the Pratyaksha Vishaya, cannot be compared with the Paroksha Vishaya, and therefore, well, it says here, Yad Anidruk Atadrukcha. Well, definitely that which is not like this or that which is not like that, Tat Mama Swarupam. That is me. Means Atma cannot be compared with anything. Oh, wait a minute. Atma can be compared with another Atma. Then what? Then tell me. Okay, I cannot be compared with Anatma. That is all right. But Atma can be compared with Atma, another Atma. But where is another Atma? Where have you found? If you have found, please bring near me. I will give you $1 million. Please bring one other Atma. Please bring. If you can find another Atma, means it has become an object of your knowledge. Otherwise, how will you talk about it? If it has become an object of knowledge, automatically it has come to the first column. Sir, what is object of your knowledge? It is not Atma, it is Anatma. I have already told you Drishyam. The characteristic of Anatma is Drishyam. And therefore Drishyam is object of knowledge. Therefore you cannot find another Atma at all. And there is another Atma, then you have to find a boundary of first and the boundary of second, etc. You should be able to separate, means it becomes an object of knowledge. Anyway, so Atma cannot be compared with an Atma. Atma cannot be compared with another Atma because there is no other Atma. And therefore Atma is Nirupamaha. They call Nirupamaha. There is no Upama. There is no Sadrusham. There is no comparison for Atma. Because very unique. Atma is, unique. So, Gaganam Gaganakaram, Sagara Sagaropamaha, Rama Ravanayoho Yuddham, Rama Ravanayoho Iva. There is one text called Ramodantam. In that, they have given a comparison. Of course, that comparison is a fight between Rama and Ravana. Then somebody asks, that fight is like between what? Between America and Afghanistan, or America and Iraq, or what kind of a fight it is? What kind of a war between, how will you compare a war between Rama and Ravana? So this is Gaganam Gaganakaram. If you want to give an example, if you want to compare the space, with what will you compare? With space. Gaganam Gaganakaram. Space can be compared with the space. Sagaraha Sagaropamaha. Ocean is compared with the ocean. Upamaha means upama. Sadrusham, comparison. Sagara Sagaropamaha. So ocean is always compared with the ocean. Rama Ravanayoho Yuddham, Rama Ravanayoho Iva. So the Yuddham, the war between Rama and Ravana is like the war between Rama and Ravana. That's all. There is no comparison at all. Same way Atma is compared with what? Atma is compared with Atma alone. Okay? You can change just voice. Atma compared with Atma. Like a little change. Way of saying can be changed. Yes. Between two Atmas. Atma like that. I don't know how to, So it's a way of saying. You can change little bit. But nothing can be done more than that. Yat anidruk ataradrukcha, that which is not like this, which is not near. Anyway, I will talk about that in the next verse. But it is not near, which is not far, etc. So that which is not like this or which is not like that, tat mama swarupam, that is my nature, means I am unique. See, unique means what? You cannot be compared. You are unique. That was one of the topic of Pujya Swamiji's. You should really listen to that. Then whatever your self-esteem has gone little low, it will again get a boost. You are unique. There is no one like you in this world. So okay, you are the greatest one. So be happy. At least between 9:15 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. After listening to this Panchadashi and glory about you that you cannot be compared with anything in this world. and you are unique, you are one without second, etc. So iti vinishchanu, may you ascertain in this manner the nature of Atma, nature of Sakshi. You are asking how this Sakshi look like. Well, Sakshi looks like a Sakshi. Okay? So there is no comparison for that. Vinishchinu is V plus Nis plus Chi dhatu. Is a Panchama Gana, fifth conjugation. And this is a lot. I mean, it's an imperative mood. And so, may you ascertain. It is like that. May you ascertain. It's not a tense actually. It is a mood. And this is Vinishchinu, means Tvam Vinishchinu, etc. So, Chinu, Chinutam, Chinuta. So it is a madhyam, I mean second person and singular. Okay, let's go to verse number 27 now. Akshanam vishayastvīdruk parokshastādruguchyate vishayinaksha vishayah sattvam nasya parokshata. Same thing actually. Vidyaranya clarifies a little further. What we said can be further. If somebody wants a clarification, we can see this thing. So when we say like this, we refer to what? Pratyaksha Vishaya, or which is very near. Because the sense organs are able to contact. That is how you use the pronoun this. This means we must be very near, which sense organs can contact. And of course, it is an Atma. It is like an object which is perceptible. And well, Tadruk, etc., then it is definitely, it's a Paroksha Vishaya, but that is also an Atma, but which is little far away, which is not available for senses to contact, which is imperceptible, you can say. So, but anyway, both happens to be an Atma, and I am the one who is, so both are called, in Sanskritam they call Vishayah, and Atma is called Vishayi. So, I am Vishayi and they are Vishayah. Both type of Vishayas are there, which are perceptible, which are imperceptible, which are near, which are far, which are pratyaksha, which are paroksha, etc. All you can say like that. And I am the one who is definitely pratyaksha, paroksha, vilakshana. I am not like this, I am not like that, because I am like me alone. So, here, yaha akshanam vishayah. Akshanam. We have seen that. Akshi means an eye. Aksha means a sense organ. In general, any sense organ is called aksha, and akshi means a particular sense organ called eye. Akshanam vishayatu idruk, so it's defining again idruk. Whatever is an object of a aksha, whatever is an object of a sense organs, well, is called idruk, is like this. So whatever is a pratyaksha vishaya is called idruk. Idruk, idrisho, idrusha, etc. There are the forms actually. It's a shakarantaha, pullingaha, idrish shabdaha. Idrish, shakarantaha. And Shiva, Shivasha, basically. And this is Prathama Vibhakti Ekvachan, idruk. And in Strilinga you will find the forms idrishi, idrishi, idrishyo, idrishya, etc. etc. And in Napumsakalinga also idruk, etc. They are the forms. So basically this is a adjectival word and used with some object. Idruk, so this is called idruk gataha. Like let's say idruk gataha means the pot which is like this. Anyway, so akshanam vishayatu idruk, idruk actually, so it is pratyaksha vishaya. Paroksha tadruk uchyate. Akshana param, we have defined before also. So whatever is beyond sense organs, and definitely what is beyond sense organs, and yet you are able to say that like that, means it has become an object of your knowledge, yeah. And then what is the means of knowledge for that? Anumanam, inference, arthapatti, presumption, etc. etc. Upamanam also some can be used. I can use the upamanam for paroksha vishaya. Like a Malaysian fruit called like our jackfruit. So that is, what is it called? Very nice name, very sweet, but it requires a Malaysian nose to have that smell. Even one small piece lying in your room, the whole room will stink. Very, that kind of a thing. I forget the name. Anyway, or our Swamiji's example, bison. If bison is like Indian buffalo, like that if I say. So if Indian buffalo is not seen, you might have seen of course, but then few people, our friends, they might not have seen Indian buffalo. Then I can give this example. So that Indian buffalo is like the bison. If I say like that, that is a upamana. I am giving an illustration. But I am giving you the knowledge of Indian buffalo which is not perceptible to you, right? Which is not perceptible to you. So all these are paroksha vishaya, which are all basically anatma only, because it's object of your knowledge. So in that, if a object is an object of knowledge, then there are two things. Either it is a perceptible, either it is imperceptible. It is not an object of perception, but still it is an object of knowledge. Then what means of knowledge are there? So anumanam, inference value is there, anumanam is there, arthapatti, presumption, etc. is there, and then other things, a lot of things are there. Even COVID-19, let's say this virus, COVID-19 virus is what? You are not able to see, otherwise why should I put mask? If I feel that they are coming, then definitely I will change the route. See, it is not perceptible through your sense organs. You are using mask. Then how will you know it is there? Because if it is not available for sense organs, well, it is not there. You can't say, sir, you see the pandemic now. So then definitely there must be another means of knowledge to prove the existence of this virus. And therefore, well, presumption, or let's say presumption. Inference also we can say, but presumption is better, because there are many types of viruses. And we say, well, this particular characteristic of the disease indicates not presence of any other virus, flu virus or these or that, etc., but indicates the presence of a COVID-19 virus, etc. And therefore, you prove the existence of this virus in a body through certain features, right? Through certain characteristics. So it is not available to your sense organs, but you ascertain still the existence of that virus through other means of knowledge. So even that is called paroksha. So paroksha tadruk uchyate. Any paroksha vishaya, the object which is not perceptible, will be definitely known through another five means of knowledge. That is anumanam, arthapatti, anupalabdhi, upamanam, and even shabda also. If you can describe me about the fall season or the fall colors present in what is that place? Very, very beautiful. Somebody told me. Oh, this is how I am. Anyway, so somewhere in Virginia or somewhere, I don't know. So that place. I mean, so well, I have not seen, but somebody describes. So the words of that person gives me indirect knowledge of that fall colors. So this is how it is. So you should be very clear about the means of knowledge and what they can give, what kind of a knowledge they can give. This is all epistemology. One should be, Vedanta should be very clear, because our whole pursuit is of knowledge. There is no other pursuit. There is no other thing involved here in this our case except knowledge. So we should be very clear. Anyway, so whatever is beyond sense organs, so known through Anumana Arthapatti, is called Tadruk, etc. or Paroksha, etc. So Atma is not like this, Atma is not like that, Atma is not like which is near, Atma is not like which is far. Atma is like Atma because it is Vishayi, different from both, actually Paroksha and Pratyaksha. Very word Vishaya in fact means an object, conveys an idea of Prameyam also. So I do not have a status of a Vishaya or an Atma, I am a Vishayi, Atma, Chaitanyam, etc. etc. Vishayi na aksha Vishaya, so it is not an object of Pratyaksha, it is not Idrik, etc. Swatvat na asya parokshata. Swatvat, well, being myself, the Sakshi being myself, it is not asya parokshata. Sakshinaha parokshata nasti. So basically it does not happen, since it is myself, the Sakshi being myself, it doesn't have a parokshata also. It cannot become an object of knowledge which is far away. It cannot be compared with. Basically here, Tadruk means it cannot be compared with something which is paroksha. So this simple question, am I be away from me or am I be near from me? Well, that kind of a question itself is a foolish question, because I am neither near nor away from me. I am me. basically. They refer to this far and near, refer to always some special, in terms of space, special relationship. Well, and any relationship is possible when between two different things. I is a sakshi, and so not different from, not different at all. And so basically, I'm related to myself, etc. cannot be there. So no relationship is possible. Word far and near should not be used with respect to Atma. I am Brahman. So Brahmanaha Atmatvam is that Brahman which is distinct from these Panchakoshas, that Brahman which resides as a witness in the Panchakoshas, that Brahman is Atma. This is the third topic is over. With verse number 27. If you remember, I have told you from verse 13 to verse 27 is the third topic, third feature of the Brahman, which is discussed in Taittiriya Upanishad, which Vidyaranya also discusses here. So 3 features are over. What is the 4th feature? If you remember, please let me know. What is the 4th feature? Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Brahma Lakshanam. Brahman is nothing but the Satyam Jnanam Anantam. That's a feature now we will be discussing. So verse 28. AvedyoPyaparokshotah Svaprakasho Bhavatyayam Satyam Jnanam Anantam Cha Ityastiha Brahma Lakshanam. 4th feature. In Brahmanandvali it is given as the first feature, because there Brahmavid apnoti param, and then tadesha abhyukta satyam jnanam anantam brahma yo veda nihitam guhayam parame vyoman, etc. etc. So there this particular feature which Vidyaranya discusses at the end, in Brahmanandvali it is the first feature of the Brahman. What is that? Satyam jnanam anantam brahma. So whereas Atma is basically, we have discussed that Atma is basically distinct from Pratyaksha and Paroksha. Atma cannot be compared with which is near. Atma cannot be compared with an object which is far away, because Atma is not an object. Atma is the very subject, and therefore don't try to, please don't ask this kind of question, whether the Sakshi, which is me, which is Brahman, is like this or is like that. Please don't ask such kind of question. So Atma is Pratyaksha Vilakshana, distinct from Pratyaksha Vishaya. Atma is distinct from Paroksha Vishaya. And I have already told you before, which is not Pratyaksha, which is not Paroksha, is called Aparoksha, which is immediate. And only immediate thing in the world is myself. There is no immediate thing. There is no immediate thing. Immediate thing is myself. Whatever is near, even this clothes, etc., we call it immediate or near. But compared to that, the body is near. Compared to body, what is near? The mind is near. Compared to mind, what is near? The eye sense is near. Right? Compared to mind, the very eye sense is very near. And therefore, I alone is this aparoksha, immediate. So what is not pratyaksha, what is not paroksha, that is called aparoksha. Yes, sakshat, aparokshat, brahma. In fact, that is the best apt quotation for Atma. What Sakshi is of which nature? I would like to see how does Sakshi look like. Well, Sakshi is aparoksha. Sakshi is in the form of I, which is immediate. So, which is a thing, whenever you want to define this, Sakshi, this is like this, which is not like a thing which is nearby, which is not like a thing which is far by, So that one, that is the aparoksham, which is in the form of I, that is Brahman. So ataha avedyaha api, even though Brahman is not an object basically of pratyaksha or aparoksha jnanam, it is aparoksha, self-evident. It is aparoksha. Even we can define aparoksha in other way also, which is not available, which is immediate, means it is not an object of knowledge. Which is immediate means it is not an object of knowledge. Means without undergoing any process of without using any means of knowledge, still you know. That's called aparoksha. For that matter, only it has to reveal itself. Then only it is possible. All objects, basically far or near, are revealed through one or other means of knowledge. And so this Brahman is basically, or the Sakshi, well, definitely is a Paroksha, means which is there without using any means of knowledge, you are able to know it. Therefore, it must be revealing itself, then only I will know. So, Aparoksha means self-evident, and that Paroksha, Sakshi, that is myself. So, if I have to experience this Aparoksha Atma, what should I do? Don't say I have to sit in Nirvikalpa Samadhi, etc. Aparoksha Vastu is ever available as Aham. So, no special effort is required. Everything requires a process to experience. But Atma is Pratibodha Viditam. So, Atma is I am Swaprakasha Bhavati, Vidyaranya says. I am self-effulgent. Aparoksha is equal to self-effulgent, self-revealing, self-illumining, self-existent, or is equal to, get revealed without using any means of knowledge. Only thing in the world is this Atma, which is without using any means of knowledge, it is you will know. You are knowing, in fact, not you will know. You know yourself without using any means of knowledge. The very I, like you exist. If I ask you, do you exist or not? Which means of knowledge are you using? Please tell me. Do you think that, well, let me think over and then I will let you know? At least I will use my mind. I know. I is not an object of senses. But definitely I is maybe an object of my thought. So let me see. I will let you know that whether I exist or not. You immediately say, I. If I say, do you exist or not? You say, yes, I am. So definitely, it's not this is called Aparoksha, which is self-evident, self-revealing, self-existent. What is self-revealing is self-existent. What is self-existent is self-revealing. Everything, every object basically is revealed through the means of knowledge, and then you say it exists. Clip exists because clip is an object of knowledge. And what is the means of knowledge? Eyes, etc. So this is not revealing itself. It is revealed through the means of knowledge. So we call it as right now it is a Pratyaksha Vishaya, of course. And something else which is there on the back of my mind, my body, etc. somewhere, which is not, I am not able to contact through my senses. And still, through some inference, etc., I can definitely say that it exists. But definitely some means of knowledge is involved. So, and then it becomes a Pratyaksha or Paroksha, where no means of knowledge are involved and still you know it is, that is Aparoksha. So, I am Swaprakasha Bhavati, I am Atma. This Atma, that is myself, so is self-effulgent. Okay, then I am self-effulgent. You say you don't require to know yourself because you are self-revealing. So you know yourself without any even means of knowledge. Then why are you using means of knowledge? Why are you sitting in front of me and talking to me? Why are you all this Shastra? Shastra also means of knowledge. Even that is also not required. Why should I study scriptures at all? Well, we study Vedanta to negate that superimposed limitations which are born of misconception. All these things which are really not I am adding to I. So to remove that, I need all this means of knowledge actually, otherwise I am self-revealing. So mind's problem I am adding to I, and then Anatma Dharma basically I am adding to myself. I am superimposing on myself due to ignorance, etc. Ignorance is there. Ignorance of the self is there, and the ignorance leads to misconception regarding the self, in which the body, mind, sense complex, etc., the dharma of body, mind, sense complex, and the dharmi, the body, mind, sense complex itself, are superimposed. And therefore, I take myself to the body, etc. And therefore, in order to negate all this, definitely I require this external means of knowledge, because the means of knowledge available to me are, with the help of them, I am not able to remove that. And therefore, I need an external means of knowledge called Shastra or teacher, etc. So Vedantic study is basically a cleaning process. It cleans. That's how I have told you yesterday, perhaps day before yesterday, Tyagena. So by Tyaga itself, you become limitless. So you become limitless means basically you are limitless, but you take yourself to be a limited being. Or you take yourself to be, you are a pure, ever pure. You are free from birth, death, etc. Everything. You are timeless, but you take yourself to be a time bound. Right? You take yourself to be impure in terms of even punya papa, etc. I am impure in terms of certain mental impurities or certain negative tendencies, certain certain, in terms of prarabdha also. Well, Swamiji, I must have done a lot of bad karmas in the past and that's how I am facing all these kind of things. So you always associate with the dharmas of body, mind, sense complex, and therefore as a karta, bhokta, etc., which is again, as a jiva you are doing. So basically cleaning, this is called cleaning. You have to remove all these dharmas because you are ever pure, self-revealing, and you are ever pure. So I am fat. Well, definitely, understand that the fatness, etc., belong to the body, etc. So all the attributes of Sukshma Sharira, Sthula Sharira, Karana Sharira also. This Karana Sharira, Prarabdha, etc. I must have done past karmas, or I must have done some bad karmas, and I don't know what is in my account, Swamiji, I don't know. Because day in and out I am facing a lot of problems. So you are referring to Karana Sharira, which is Avyaktam, which is all Sanchita Karma, from which all the Prarabdha is I am fructifying. So you associate with that. So anyway, this all is negated. So this Brahman is called Satyam Jnanam Anantam. The Brahma Lakshanam. Lakshanam of two, the definition are of two types. One is a Swarupa Lakshanam, another is a Tatastha Lakshanam. Swarupa Lakshanam is a direct definition. Tatastha Lakshanam is an indirect definition. And this Satyam Jnanam Anantam is a direct definition. So Shankaracharya ji of course writes a very big commentary there in Taittiriya Upanishad. While discussing this Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, he gives this both types of definition. And perhaps we may discuss perhaps in chapter 5 or something. But basically there are two types of definitions. Tatastha Lakshanam and Swarupa Lakshanam. So Iha means with respect to this Brahman, which is Sakshi, which is Sakshi Panchakosha, Brahma Lakshanam Asti. There is a definition of the Brahman. What is that definition? Satyam Jnanam Anantam Cha. This Satyam Jnanam Anantam is the Iha Brahma Lakshanam Asti. Here, with respect to Sakshi, this Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma is a Lakshanam. And that definition of this Brahman, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma, this fourth feature, well, is discussed between verse number 28 to verse number 36. Let's read now verse number 29. Satyatvam badarahityam jagat badaika shakshinah badah kim sakshiko bruhi natva sakshika ishyate. Now what he does is he takes up a first word, Satyam, and he explains that. Then he will explain Jnanam, then he will explain Anantam, etc. What is the definition of Satyam? In Tattvoda we saw one other definition, right? You may not be remembering, I will remind you. Trikale api tishtati tat sat. Trikale api tishtati iti sat. Which is present in all the three periods of time is Sat or Satyam. Same thing. And here he gives another definition. Satyatvam badarahityam. Badarahityam satyatvam. Badarahityam satyasya lakshanam. So badarahityam means abadhitam. Rahityam means devoid of. Devoid of badham. Devoid of negation. So which cannot be dismissed is called Satyam. And every object can be dismissed, can be negated at a micro level or a macro level, right? Micro level you are able to, at a vyashti level. At an individual level you are able to dismiss anything. But at the level of a samashti, at a macro level, at a cosmic level, you cannot dismiss that, right? Well, you are able to dismiss, but let us say you are not able to dismiss. But it will be dismissed at the time of pralayam. And therefore everything is subject to negation. So whole world can be dissolved at the time of pralayam, so even that also can be negatable. That can be negated. So when everything is negated, then one thing is not negated. Well, consciousness which is aware of, witness of this negation, it is not negatable. It is unnegatable. Otherwise, well, if you say everything is negated, then if I ask you a question, how do you say so? Well, then answer will be, well, I see everything which is negated. Okay, means you are witness of sarva bhavas, all negation. Non-existence also you can say. Negation you say, non-existence you say, the same thing. Means you are witness of negation. You are witness of non-existence. Badaha you say, abhavaha you say, it's the same thing here. And so abhava can't be talked about without our experiencing that. That word will not be there in dictionary. We will not be knowing this thing. Like if I use some word, like tababubu. Suppose like I use this word, you all will wonder what is this. And you may not ask me. If you go and ask some other person, he will also say, what is that? I don't know. So that such a word you try to find in a dictionary, Oxford dictionary, you won't find this thing because you are not experienced, right? I am using some word, should create some concept in you, and it is not able to create any concept, and therefore that concept is a meaning. When I use a word, in your mind some changes occurring, then definitely it doesn't bring any change, doesn't bring any concept. So you say it is a meaningless word. What I am saying is basically then definitely the dictionary cannot involve that word. Dictionary can involve a word which you know, me know, everyone knows. And therefore non-existence. What is that non-existence? It is like tagabugu, which I say. You will ask like that. But when I say non-existence, you are comfortable. You do not have any anxiety because you know non-existence. If you know existence, non-existence means what? You have experiences. Okay. The one who experienced non-existence is non-existent or existent? Please tell me. Oh, right? And therefore, the sakshi of this negation, sakshi of a non-existence will be ever there. It cannot be available for negation. So otherwise abhava can't be talked about without experiencing it. So it says nissakshikaha abhavaha na sambhavati. That which cannot be negated, na sambhavati means which this is not possible. Without witness, in non-existence is not possible, negation is not possible, and therefore definitely that sakshi, the witness, must be there, which cannot be negated, and that is called satyam. That sakshi is called satyam. So bada rahityam satyatvam jagat bada eka sakshinaha. It is ultimate witness of negation of everything else. Jagat means everything else. Why should you say ultimate witness? Because if ultimate witness is not there, you can't talk about the negation. Because definitely ultimate, you say everything is negated, means that for the ultimate sakshi must be there who witnessed this negation of everything. So and therefore that witness is not available for negation. So there is no negation of the witness. Why do we say so? Badaha kim sakshikam bruhi. Badaha kim sakshikaha. So you talk about this negation at that abhava. How do you know that there is negation? Badaha kim sakshikaha. Suppose if I ask you, I ask one student that you go into that room and check whether the TV set is there or not. Because that somebody complained, the neighbor complained that this Swami all the time 24/7 he keeps the TV on and with the big volume etc., and therefore we are getting disturbed, and he complained, and so the authority came and took away the TV. But I was not sure whether the TV they have taken or not. So what I asked to one student that please go into the room and check whether TV set is there or not. I am a witness of the presence of a TV. But in my absence, they have come and taken away the TV. But I would like to check whether they have taken away or not. So I asked the student, please go into that room and check whether they have taken TV or not. He went there and came back and said, there is no TV set. So there is no TV set, that's correct. So absence of TV set is witnessed by what? Witnessed by whom? That person, that student. And therefore, any absence or negation, etc., non-existence, etc., is always witnessed by somebody. Then only he can use this word that there is no TV set, etc. And therefore, Badaha kim sakshikaha bruhi, kim sakshikaha. Now this is, I'm scratching your head now. These are all Bahuri Samasa. And therefore we should know all this. Nissakshikaha, kassakshikaha, asakshikaha, all these are there in this verse. So first is this kim sakshikaha. Kaha sakshi asya badhasya Yaha saha kim sakshikah. This Bahuri. So basically, if kaha sakshi, asya badasya. So who is the one? Who is a witness of this negation? That kind of a negation is called kim sakshika bada. Bahuri arthe yah ka pratyaya is used. So when when the ka comes, you should, it's an indication that that particular samasa is a Bahuri samasa. And even there's the adjective to badaha. Kim sakshikaha badaha. So it's adjective. In simple English, if you want a translation of this word, who is a witness of this bada? Who is a witness of this negation? That's all. So witness has to be there. And witness must be, can you tell me what is the nature of the witness? You can tell, because he has experienced that, right? He has, as a witness, he has experienced the negation. He has experienced non-existence. One who experiences, what is his nature? Chetana, right? And therefore, this Sakshi, which is Satyam, which cannot be negated, and who is a witness of all negation, that Sakshi must be Chetanam. And therefore, Satyam is this consciousness. Sat is the Chit. Chit is the Sat. Okay? That's called Jnanam, of course, but that will come later. But that is how. Jnanam is consciousness. Chit is Sat. Sat is Chit, which cannot be negated or which is unnegatable. Badarahityam is the witness. Oh, so he witnessed all negation. Therefore, witness must be what? Consciousness. And therefore, Sat is Chit, Chit is Sat. So, and that is in Chandogya has been told like Sadeva Sumedam Agra Asit Ekameva Dvitiyam, and then dash 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 dash, and then Aitadatmi Vidagum Sarvam Tat Satyam Sa Atma Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. Oh bete, Shvetaketu. Uddalaka is his father telling to his son Shvetaketu. So let me start from the back. Sa Atma Tattvamasi Shvetaketu. Hey Shvetaketu, Tattvamasi, that is you. That means what? You means all right, I understood. But that means what? Tat Satyam Sa Atma Tattvamasi, right? So that Atma is you. First thing. That means the Atma. Why should you say Atma means I? Who takes? Who takes that way? Nobody takes. Unless this fellow also is like that. And everyone, once a fellow tries to see Atma somewhere here, in the heart, in a form of some kind of a jyoti or something. All kinds of things are going on to see Atma. Really, people are meditating to see Atma. Therefore, they think that Atma is something different from the oneself. And therefore, he has to use. So Atma, after that, he has to tell that Atma is you. Oh Shvetaketu, that Atma is you. Okay, but what is that Atma? Sa Atma. That is the Atma, that is you. Okay? But what is that Atma? Oh, Tat Satyam. Tat Satyam. That Atma is Satyam. Oh, means Badarahityam. That Atma is one which cannot be negated. Okay. Atma, that is you. I means a conscious entity. That is Atma. And that Atma is Satyam. Which is a witness of all the negation which is not negatable. But that Atma which is Satyam, that Satyam also has another pronoun there. Tat Satyam. That is Satyam, that is Atma, that is you. Now that is Satyam. When that is Satyam is what? Sadeva Soumya Idamagrasit Habba. Sadeva Soumya. That Sat, which is the cause of the entire creation, which was there before the entire creation came about. Before that it was there. That Sat is Satyam. That Satyam is Atma. That Atma is you, oh my dear son. That's how it's said. Okay? And so you are the cause of the entire creation. That's what it means. So if you understand, means cause of the creation means what? Okay, I am the cause of the creation. I will put in my iCard, etc. Okay, I am cause of the creation. Oh, so what? I don't feel like, you are saying something, but something should happen where nothing happens to me. You are cause of the creation means you are pervading. You are all pervading Brahman. cause, this upadana karanam, material cause, pervades the effect. The cause, the jagat is the effect basically, and you are cause of it, means you are pervading. And you are pervading the effect means what? Like a blanket pervades the body? What? How the upadana karanam pervades the effect? How the gold pervades an ornament? The way you pervade this entire world means there is nothing other than you. There is no ornament. There is no second ornament other than the gold. Same way, there is no second thing other than yourself. Sadeva sumedam agrasit ekam eva advitiyam. So you are so unique. There is nothing other than you in this creation. But I am seeing everything right now. That all is you. The gold also, well, like gold sees everything. Oh, so many forms. I mean all the forms. Same way you are in all these forms. And varieties of the forms, for that varieties of the names are there. Every name indicates a particular form. And that's how one gold assumes all forms, and then varieties of the names are there, chain, bangle, etc. And so this is how it is. So basically, Satyam will lead to this. Satyam, which is unnegatable, Badarahityam, Jagat Badeka Sakshinaha, which is witness of the entire world, which is available for negation, which is negated also, which will be negated also. And that Badaha Kim Sakshikaha Bruhi. Please tell me, who is the witness of that Badaha? Natu Asakshikaha Bada Ishyate. Vidyaranya says you can't talk about a negation without a witness. So, TV abhava or TV negation, right? So, I would like to know, I told you, so without witness, well, anyway, I don't want to discuss that example again. So, without witness, you can't talk about that abhava of the TV. Same way, all the abhava of the everything. And there is, we all are able to appreciate also. That shows the Sakshi is there for the entire negation. So here it says, na tu asakshikaha ishyate. Asakshikaha badaha. We have to supply that badaha everywhere. So na vidyate sakshi asya badasya yaha saha asakshikaha badaha. So definitely, witlessness negation is not acceptable to us. Na ishyate means it is not acceptable. What? Asakshikaha badaha. It is not acceptable to us. We have to supply that the negation is asakshika. That negation is without witness. That is not acceptable to us. If you say, and I am able to appreciate, yes, that there is a negation, then definitely Sakshi is already there. And tu indicates here, natu asakshika. That tu indicates our experience. Means you can't talk about negation unless you witness it. Let's go to verse 30. Apaniteshu murteshu yamurtam shishyate viyat shakyeshu baditeshvante shishyate yattadevatat. So to convey this teaching that abadhyam sakshi brahma is yourself, Vidyaranya gives a very beautiful example here. Before I go to the verse, I will tell you in first what is that example. Like in a room, many things are there. And now there's a Diwali time, and so people generally, get painted the whole house. And for that matter, they will have to remove everything from the room. And they will call a worker, hire some worker who removes everything from the particular room. Let's say particular room, they remove everything. After removing anything, you want to check whether everything is removed or not. Because once they start painting, then definitely get polluted, because maybe some drops of paint, etc. will fall on the particular thing. So they want to, you want to check that whether all the things are removed or not. And so you ask the worker, whether have you removed everything or not? And he went to the room and checked everything, every corner, and says, well, everything is removed. He came out of the room and said, everything is removed. And you are a Vedanti. And you start laughing. You start laughing. Why are you laughing? So that answer is here. Can you guess what is the answer? Can you tell what is the answer for this? Suppose if she says everything is removed and you are laughing. Let me ask you the reason. Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing? because something is left over and that person says everything is removed, but still something is left over. And if you say, yeah, something is left over, what is that thing which is left over? Please tell me. Nothing is left, huh? Understand? Nothing is left. And he is also not there in the room. He is coming out of the room and says, nothing is there in the room. So don't think he is standing in the room, in the middle of the room and says, then you will feel, oh, you are there. But I am telling you, he comes out of the room. You don't want to enter into the room. And so after coming out of the room, worker says to you that, well, there is nothing in the room. And really there is nothing. The person also has come out and says. And still you are laughing because something is left over there. And you are Vedantin. Give me answer. If you don't give an answer, you are not Vedantin. Okay, don't worry. Let us see this. Anyway, what is left over? Please tell me. Akasha is left over. Oh, but Akasha? Akasha is... What are you talking? Akasha means an absence. Do you think Akasha is absence? That is your teaching? That is your teaching? Tasmadva etasmad atmanah akasha sambhutah. Akasha is one Mahabhuta, is a positive entity, is not a negative entity. It is not an absence of something. That is a Nayayika. Nayayika says Akasha means an absence of thing. We are not saying that. We say it's a positive entity which is produced from the Maya. We have discussed also in the second chapter. Panchabhuta Viveka, right? And therefore, a positive entity, a positive thing which is left over, which cannot be removed. An unremovable thing is there after removing everything. That is the criteria here. Okay? And so there are two types of dravyam. Because he has used the word murtam, amurtam. Murtam, amurtam. There are two types of dravyam. Two types of bhutas are there. And one is a murta dravya. Murtam is a tangible. Amurtam, intangible. And so, the water, fire, three are basically murta dravyas. So, fire, water and earth. Three are basically murta dravyas, tangible, naturally. And akasha and vayu are intangible dravyas. So, anyway, so that akasha, which is a amurta dravya, well, cannot be included in removable items. Okay, after removing anything, after removing everything, there is, well, nothing removable, which is, there is something which is not, which we are not able to remove. That dravya is there. And so when we say, now we have to discuss some more point tomorrow, and I'm putting here a background. When I say everything is removed, even I don't use any word. Further, even I don't use any word at all, you have to understand that everything removed is equal to akasha. That's all. Everything removed is equal to something which cannot be removed, or unremovable akasha. We are going to discuss this thing. When everything is negated, means shunyam. That shunyam means atma. That will be there. That will be there. Tomorrow we have to discuss that thing. So, nothing should be interpreted as a presence of. Absence of everything should be understood as a presence of something which cannot be negated. Absence or a negation of everything, I will put once again. Negation of everything is equal to the presence of an unnegatable thing. And that witness is always like that. And sometimes they negate and negate and negate and negate. But they don't say what is ultimately left over. They don't say that. You have to understand. Why I have to understand? How will I understand? Sir, you are the one who negated everything. And if still I have to tell that you are there, it's a height of foolishness. It's a height of foolishness that you are left over. I need not tell. No, but even if you say what a big deal it is, you have to tell. If I say, you will try to find out that thing. And that's what the whole thing has come out. Like I said that Panchakosha Sakshi is there. The very witness of the Panchakoshas, after negation of Panchakoshas, understanding them as a mithya, is left over. Then that fellow is asking, that fool, he is asking, now I would like to see that Sakshi. From that the whole discussion has come. And therefore if I say the witness is left over, then you will try to see the witness now. So, negation of everything, absence of everything is equal to presence of a thing which is not negative. That's how we have to understand. Okay. So, apaniteshu murteshu, in a room, basically, murteshu, because all these tangible, removable things are apaniteshu, they are removed. Then, well, that person says there is nothing which can be removed. Now, well, if he says that, you have to understand amurtam shishyate, that intangible thing, that akasha, which cannot be removed, is left over. So, shakkeshu badhyeshu, shakkeshu baditeshu, shakkeshu means badhyeshu baditeshu, means when everything negatable is negated. Shakkeshu means this, badhyeshu, which is available for negation. So, when everything negatable is negated, baditeshu, up to our thoughts, ante, at the end, yat shishyate, whatever remains is the witness consciousness. Tadeva tat, that is called Brahman. That is the Sakshi. That is you. Okay. So one person said after 12.5 years he removed all the thoughts. Now when he is waiting that something will happen. Some mystic thing will happen. He is waiting for that. And he asked me, what will happen, Swamiji? I have 12.5 years, I have tried and I am able to remove all the thoughts. And I am now ready that something mystic, that Atma pops up or something. Well, nothing pops up. You have to better attend the classes. No mistake will happen. In fact, mistake has happened that you have tried for 12.5 years. And therefore, better attend Tattva Bodha now. Okay? After 12.5 years of the waste, you now start attending, which is a concrete entity, and that is yourself, is there. Don't wait for something to happen. Nothing is going to happen except a tamo guna will happen to you. Nothing will happen. You will go to sleep after all the thoughts are gone. Okay? That's your face itself is telling. Okay, anyway. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.